Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into one of the most explosive political topics of 2025, the 7 Caribbean countries that former President Donald Trump openly dislikes, and why. You won't believe the real reasons behind this tension. Is it politics, economics, or something even deeper? Stick around, because this is going to be a wild ride. The Caribbean isn't just white sandy beaches and tropical getaways. Behind the scenes, it's a geopolitical chessboard, and Trump has made it clear he's not a fan of certain nations in the region. Some countries have policies that clash with his America First agenda, while others have made bold moves that put them at direct odds with the U.S. So, which nations made the list? Let's break it down. Number 1. Cuba. Cuba has long been a thorn in U.S. foreign policy, and under Trump, tensions only intensified. Even in 2025, his disdain for Cuba's communist regime remains fierce. Why? Because Cuba continues to side with U.S. adversaries like China and Russia, allowing them to establish military and economic footholds just 90 miles off Florida's coast. Trump's administration reinstated strict trade and travel bans, reversing Obama-era diplomacy. Critics argue this isolation pushes Cuba further toward America's enemies. But Trump's message is clear: no concessions to a regime that suppresses freedom and partners with U.S. enemies. Some say it's less about principle and more about Florida's Cuban-American voter base, a crucial swing state where tough-on-Cuba policies play very well. Number 2. Venezuela. Venezuela's collapse under Nicolás Maduro's socialist regime remains a key concern. Trump has never held back his criticism, and in 2025, he's still vocal. His administration imposed crippling sanctions on Venezuela's oil industry, aiming to cut off funds to Maduro's rule and force change. Critics argue these sanctions only worsen the humanitarian crisis, hurting ordinary people more than the government. Trump also backed opposition leader Juan Guaidó, calling him the legitimate president. But Maduro still clings to power. So, is the U.S. just prolonging suffering, or is there a greater strategy at play? Number 3. Jamaica. Jamaica might seem like an unlikely target, but Trump's issue comes down to one word: China. Jamaica has accepted billions in Chinese loans for infrastructure. Trump sees this as a dangerous debt trap, giving Beijing influence in America's backyard. U.S. warnings have gone unheeded, and some say the U.S. is just bitter about losing regional control. Others believe Jamaica is risking its sovereignty in exchange for development cash. Could Jamaica become a pawn in a global power struggle? Number 4. The Bahamas. Known for its luxury resorts, the Bahamas is also a hotspot for offshore banking. Trump has targeted it for being a tax haven, where wealthy individuals and corporations hide money from U.S. authorities. The irony? Trump's own business empire has benefited from offshore schemes. Still, he pushed for IRS crackdowns and stricter regulations. So, is this about fighting tax evasion, or just political optics? Number 5. Haiti. Haiti has been in crisis for decades, racked by poverty, violence, and political instability. These dire conditions have forced thousands to flee, seeking refuge in the United States. But during Trump's administration, that hope was shattered. He ended temporary protected status, TPS, for Haitians, a program that once shielded them from deportation. Human rights groups were outraged, calling the decision inhumane and cruel, especially since conditions in Haiti remain catastrophic. Gang rule, lack of clean water, collapsing healthcare, and political chaos. Trump, however, doubled down. His supporters argue that America can't be the world's shelter, and that Haiti must take responsibility for its own recovery. But here's the haunting question: are we protecting national interests or turning our backs on people who have nowhere else to go? Number 6. Dominica. At first glance, Dominica is pure Caribbean bliss. Lush green mountains, peaceful villages, and crystal clear bays. But hidden beneath the surface is a program that has quietly stirred global controversy, especially under the radar of Donald Trump. We're talking about the Island Citizenship by Investment CBI program. For just $100,000, wealthy individuals from across the globe can buy Dominican citizenship. No requirement to live there, no deep vetting, and often little to no visibility. Critics call this a backdoor for the world's most dangerous actors. From sanctioned billionaires to fugitives, and even intelligence agents, Dominica's CBI passports are seen as a potential ticket to bypass travel restrictions, launder identities, and circumvent U.S. sanctions. There have been allegations that some individuals with questionable pasts have used these second passports to access countries that would have otherwise barred them, including the U.S. But that's not the only reason Trump has his eye on Dominica. This program directly undercuts the U.S. EB-5 visa system. While America's EB-5 investor visa demands $800,000, long processing times, in-person interviews, and strict background checks, Dominica offers a fast-track shortcut for a fraction of the price. From Trump's viewpoint, that's not just unfair, it's dangerous. His administration argues that programs like Dominica's threaten global security, weaken American leverage, and could even be exploited by enemies of the state. But here's the flip side. To the people of Dominica, CBI isn't corruption, it's survival. The money raised has helped rebuild after catastrophic hurricanes, support local schools, improve healthcare systems, and fund infrastructure that would have otherwise been impossible for this small island. So what are we really looking at? Is Dominica's CBI a smart economic lifeline for a struggling island nation? Or a global loophole that invites abuse, risks national security, and undermines U.S. authority? Number 7. Antigua and Barbuda. Now we arrive at the final showdown. Antigua and Barbuda. Unlike the others, this clash isn't about migration or diplomacy. It's about online gambling, and it's personal for Trump. Antigua, one of the first nations to legalize and promote internet casinos, has for years allowed online betting platforms to operate legally even after the U.S. began clamping down. American authorities view these sites as outside their jurisdiction, but for Antigua, they're a vital part of the digital economy. The conflict exploded when the World Trade Organization sided with Antigua, declaring that the U.S. had violated trade rules by restricting access to its gambling market while protecting its own. But did Trump back down? Absolutely not. He refused to comply with the ruling, insisting that national morality, cybersecurity, and sovereignty outweigh trade agreements. To Trump, online gambling is a threat to American values, to young internet users, and to law enforcement efforts to stop offshore fraud. But Antigua isn't staying silent. They argue they're being punished for playing by the rules, bullied by a superpower that picks and chooses which trade laws it wants to follow. To them, the online casino fight isn't about morality. It's about economic survival, digital freedom, and the right of a small nation to build its future on the global stage. So where does the truth lie? Is Antigua's fight a battle for fairness in the digital age? Or is the U.S. drawing a line against unchecked offshore industries? And so, as the sun sets on these turquoise shores and political tides shift yet again, we're left with a simple truth. These are not just headlines. These are real countries, real people, and real struggles, each trying to find their place in a world shaped by power, policy, and survival. Trump's America First agenda may be reshaping the region's future, but at what cost? Is this about protecting borders or pushing boundaries? Are we witnessing strength or intimidation disguised as diplomacy? Because every policy, every sanction, every ignored trade ruling or terminated visa leaves behind more than statistics. It leaves behind lives, hopes, and dreams. It's easy to judge from afar, harder to listen, to understand, to see beyond the surface. But if we're to move forward as a truly global society, we must ask ourselves, are we building bridges or just burning them? Thank you for staying with us on this journey. If today's story opened your eyes, made you feel, or made you think, then we've done our job. Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that matter. Drop a comment because your voice matters too. And most importantly, stay curious, stay compassionate, and never stop questioning the world around you. Until next time, this is Adventure Chuckles signing off.